Welcome everyone to Caleb Watches Movies, the channel where I, Caleb, randomly select from one of the many movies that I own and I watch and review them for you, except on days like today where I am taking a certain franchise or I'm taking a certain topic and I'm ranking the crap out of it. And here we are, it's the end of 2024. Everyone says this every single year, but for me, it's really true this year. This feels like this year just got started and it's already over. Like, where has the time gone? Obviously, for me, my time has gone into watching and reviewing movies. And this year, I set a goal for myself to watch as many 2024 released movies as much as I possibly can. And this year, I was able to watch over 130 films. So, unlike my previous years on this channel, where I'm struggling to combine new releases along with old retrospectives that I do on this channel, this year, I really set forth, and I have a good variety and a nice little basket of movies that I can choose from when I make these top 10 and bottom 10 lists, just like what I'm doing today. And today we are talking about the top 10 worst films that I found to be released here in 2024. Gotta start off with the worst stuff, because we're gonna end the year with the best of that is coming out in a few days, so keep an eye on that for my channel. But after seeing 130 films, I feel like I've devoted enough time to the movies that came out this year to better inform you as to what was good and what was bad, and my god, I have seen some shit this year. Now, before I get into this list, please remember that this is my personal ranking. I am not saying that this is the definitive list of the 10 worst films that came out this year, and we can also agree that no director, no crew member, no artist out there sets out to make a bad film. We understand that art is art, but that doesn't mean that bad films aren't made, and these are the 10 films that I found to be the worst made out of 2024. Here we go, let's start the list, starting at number 10. At number 10 is a horror film that is a prequel remake of a franchise. I don't know, I've never watched any chapters in this franchise at all, so I started off with this chapter. It's a chapter 1 of The Strangers. It's your standard, oh, we're going on vacation to a cabin in the woods, and it's in the middle of this podunk town where everyone kind of seems suspicious about newcomers coming into town. And then the strangers show up, and they do creepy things just to be creepy, and they kill one of the people in the couple, and the other one, you think that they kill him, but then she wakes up, and we're moving on to chapter 2 for her to get her revenge, even though chapter 2 hasn't come out yet, and I don't give a shit. I tried to do my research, and I tried to give this film the benefit of the doubt. Like, if this is a planned trilogy or a planned series, okay, maybe we're building up to something. So I read up on the previous installments of this franchise, and it just seems like this chapter 1 was just a remake of the original. Like, beat for beat, the people in it, the characters in it, and the scares, the murders that happen in it was all the same. So if we're doing all the same things, why are we remaking it and adapting it for another movie if it's just all the same thing? Why do we do that? Hollywood, why do you keep wasting my money? At number 9 is... oh god, this was one of the most boring watches for me out of this entire year, and it's nice to see that Kit Harington is getting some work after Game of Thrones, but I don't know if he'll be getting much after this movie, because I thought he was god-awful. I thought this story was god-awful in Beast Within. And I mentioned Kit Harington, he's barely in this thing, even though his face is on the poster with his eye turning yellow, because you see, it's a beast within himself. He's a werewolf the entire time. And his family know this, and they give him the benefit of the doubt, I guess, sometimes, but then he just goes crazy one night. But then, spoiler alert, it turns out he's not a werewolf at all. He's just an abusive husband and father who has a drinking problem, and that is the beast within, you see. So it's a metaphor for alcoholism and, you know, bad parenting. It's just the type of thing I'm looking for when I'm looking for a good Halloween horror film to watch around that time. JK, not. At number 8 for me is a film with two well-known actresses who have done some great work. One actress I feel has done better than the other, but this is the movie called Mother's Instinct. Jessica Chastain and Anne Hathaway play two neighboring mothers who both have little boys who are of the same age, and then a tragedy happens to one of their kids because, you see, the mother was not mothering and just thought, hey, let's not lock the windows in the house to the balcony that doesn't have a fence around it so anyone could just walk out. Oh, and by the way, that's off of the kids' room too, so yeah, nothing bad will happen. And then something bad does happen, and then she goes crazy and starts slowly moving her way into the other family's house and to warm up to that kid so that... God. Saying it out loud, it's so stupid. So that when she's able to take care of the parents of the other kid, when child support services come over and they're like, hey, who do you want to live with? The kid's obviously going to say, well, my next door neighbor, of course. It's a bunch of melodramatic moments that they're just preying at your heartstrings because they're mothers. And I'm sorry, I didn't see mothers here, I just saw bad parents. And when a parent is not parenting appropriately or well in general, you know, you reap what you sow, in my opinion. At number 7 is a film that came out very early on in 2024, and all of the critics, all of the reviews talking about this film all said the exact same thing. It's Amityville Horror, but in a swimming pool. This is Night Swim. Literally, beat for beat, the plot points, the characters all fit within the Amityville Horror universe. This is just done in this house's pool. And, God, it came out so long ago. It's remained on my top 10 worst of the year ever since January when it came out. I remember the dad being an ex-baseball player, but he got hurt, you see, and he couldn't carry on, and he was depressed that he couldn't play ball anymore. So he's depressed and he's not being a dad to his kids. Again, another example of a parent not parenting properly. And then some possession and ghost in the pool trying to consume the family. It's Amityville Horror, but in a swimming pool. That's all that needs to be said about it. Now let's forget it and let's move on. At number 6 is proof that I really went into the depths of movies that came out this year. Movies that you probably have never heard of before, but I was like, hey, I need to get as many movies as I can on this list as possible, so I'm just scraping the bottom of the barrel. I stumbled across this movie that definitely belongs on this list. This is Shark Island. These models are being hired to travel to this island called Shark Island with this photographer who has this very expensive necklace, you see. It's one of a kind. And during the shoot with the necklace goes missing, so it becomes like a heist movie with this photographer and all of these models. And why is it called Shark Island, you say? Well, I think they had to ask themselves the same thing. As they ended principal photography, they're like, oh wait, this is called Shark Island. We don't have any sharks in here at all. Let's get some Getty images and some stock footage of great whites swimming around the ocean, and during each cut from one scene to the other, we'll just throw that in, and the audience will say, oh, well, there's sharks here, so yes, of course, this is called Shark Island. The sharks play into nothing other than randomly showing up at the end to take care of one of them. I don't know. Shark Island, but not really. Yay, you belong here. And if you thought Shark Island was worse, let me tell you about Cocaine Werewolf. You know those fun homemade films that you made with all of your friends in high school or in middle school when you would watch like Indiana Jones or Star Wars and you're like, gosh, I want to make my own Indiana Jones movie. So you go out in the backyard and you find like a cheap brown coat or a leather jacket, and you have your handheld camcorder, and you're just shooting your friends running around, and that's your Indiana Jones movie. That's your homemade Indiana Jones movie. That is better than this. This is handheld camcorder quality shooting with a plot so surface level and so stupid. There's just some cocaine out there and a werewolf on the run, and this asshole director is trying to make a movie. And of course we have to have some hot lesbian action in there, so that happens. And then the werewolf shows up, and clearly Clearly it's a natural werewolf, not a mask at all. And yeah, this is basically a student film that never should have seen the light of day, but yet someone paid for distribution for this thing. Yeah, definitely top 5 of the year. At number 4 is not a student film and not a film on a shoestring budget. This was created by Francis Ford Coppola, who put all of his money into making this movie because, gosh, this was his vision. He has thought about this movie for decades, and this is Megalop. He's putting his own money, he's selling off half of his vineyard to pay for all of the production, and it's a passion project. And you have to respect it in that accord, at least. Yes, it's a passion project. You felt very passionately. No film studio, no other producers wanted to back you on this idea. That should have given you a clue there. But you know what? You stuck to your guns and you made what you wanted to make, so you know what? Good for you. Now, on the flip side, this audience member who paid to go see this thing is pissed off because what I saw was just a self-indulgent, artistic, not making any sense story with characters that I don't know. It's difficult to figure out the relationship between many of these characters and what's going on in this city, how this city was created, and what the actual problem is. We have editing choices in here that are just off the rails and off the walls. Like, we're in one scene, then all of a sudden we cut quickly into another one, then we're back into the other thing. It's all over the fucking place. Not to mention all of the unprofessionalism that the director showed to all of his extras during the party scenes. He would go around and he would sexually dance up on all of them because he wanted to show them how to dance at the rave party, bruh. And he would grab them and kiss them without their consent. He would get on the microphone, and when he talked to all of them and said, "Hey, please, if I walk around and I give you a kiss, just know it's for my pleasure." That's not me paraphrasing or making a story up. There's actual footage of him doing that, and people have come forward of him doing that. And it's just disgusting. And I know he denies all of it. Of course he would. It's for his pleasure, of course, right? Megalopolis is a self-indulgent piece of shit that I'm never going to waste another moment of my life on again. So let's move on. At number 3 is a heartwarming tale about a young teenage daughter who finds out that her father is an assassin, and he ends up dead, or at least he hasn't come back from a mission yet, and after figuring out that he is an assassin, decides to carry on the family business and take care of people in the neighborhood. One of the targets, of course, is one of the cute boys at school's mother, so she goes to the... She goes to the house to kill her, and then he answers, and then she shows up, and she's so flustered that she pulls out the gun, but then shoots at point-blank range and misses, and then runs away, and then the cute boy runs after her. They meet up, and they're actually having, like, very stoic and chill, calm dialogue, to where the daughter says, "Sorry I tried to shoot your mom," and the cute boy replies, "That's okay." This is the quality of script we get in this movie. Not to mention all the pantomiming gunshots. We're having a shootout. This is a video-on-demand picture that after it was done and I walked away for a few minutes, I came back, I couldn't remember what the name of this movie was and thought, oh my god, I'm going to forget what this is. This was supposed to make my list. I don't know what the film title is at all. And if I can't find it, I can't put it on this list at the end of the year, so I just wasted my goddamn time for nothing. Thankfully, though, I found the title just to tell you and to warn you to steer clear. At number 2, god, here's another shark movie, but definitely like a sci-fi feature that's even worse than a sci-fi channel feature at all. This is called Space Sharks. Now you think with a title called Space Sharks, and after other shark movies that we've gotten like Sharknado and Shark Island, that we would actually see some sharks in space in this movie. Oh no. Oh no. The space sharks that we get in here are terrible green screen CGI versions of like the Street Shark cartoon, but like if they slimmed down, like if they went on a diet and they have this muscular body with arms and legs and a fin in the back, and then their head just kind of curves into a shark head. Like, I don't even know. I don't even know how this passes inspection. I don't know how this thing gets greenlit. And you know, for a title that says Space Sharks, you think this would take place in space. Only the first 5 minutes. The rest takes place in the outdoor desert, clearly somewhere in New Mexico or Nevada, where this studio company is, of course. And it's just random people. I believe they were like in AA or some type of group meeting like this. And the space shark, who apparently has the powers of Predator, comes around and takes care of them one by one. This is one of those movies that I thought, how can this get any worse with this top 10 list? And here it is at number 2. It managed to make it all the way up here. Not the worst, though. No, the worst movie of the year has to go to a big blockbuster budgeted movie that is just capitalizing on a brand of Marvel, but definitely didn't make that money back and completely lied in its advertising to us audience members. Of course, I have to be talking about February's own Madam Web. Poor CGI, an AI-generated script, terrible acting. We have Dakota Johnson here, who is channeling her inner 50 Shades of Grey performance where there's just nothing there at all. The movie's just uninspiring. It's not original. It's not uplifting. It's not taking any care of these characters at all. And then the marketing behind this, we have these 3 Spider Women. Sydney Sweeney, of course, is one of the biggest names in Hollywood right now. She's in this thing, so of course we're going to promote her in the promotion. She's going to have her Spider Woman costume on. But then when you go see the movie, you realize, oh, the whole Spider trio girl team up, and then Madam Web in her outfit, oh, that never happens in real life. I believe they're in the suits for no more than 10 seconds for the entire movie, and when we do see them, it's a dream sequence, and then at the very end, it's another dream sequence from Madam Web talking about the future and where things are going. The Sony Spider-Man universe always the marketing is great because my expectations with the trailers, the promotional material, everything that comes out from their Spider-Verse movies just lowers my expectations so much that by the time I go see a Venom or I go see a Kraven the Hunter or Morbius for whatever reason, because my expectation bar is so low and I see those movies, I go, okay, I guess it wasn't as bad as the low bar that I set for this movie, and because of that, I guess it's okay. This movie exceeded my low bar expectations, but in the wrong direction. This exceeded it so bad. This is lower than the low bar that I set for this movie. And it does the amazing thing where it gets to a point where it's so bad it's good, but then it comes right back to where it's so bad it's good, it's bad again. Apparently after Kraven the Hunter, the whole Sony Spider-Man universe with all the villains setting up their own Sinister Six movie without Spider-Man actually ever appearing in anything or being in the universe at all, apparently that's come to an end for now, whatever the fuck that means. All I can say is thank God, and hopefully it stays dead. Please just let Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige do what they do best. Take those characters and use them properly, please. Work out a deal where you still get paid the money for the movies that they put out with the Spider-Man characters, okay? Work that out. But in terms of creative, generating these Spider-Man movies, just don't do that anymore. Just stop. Do your Spider-Verse thing with Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse and Beyond the Spider-Verse. Do those. Those are amazing. These live-action things, let it go. And that is my list of the top 10 worst movies that I watched in 2024. What did you think of my list? What is your ranking of all the films that you've watched this year? What are your top 10 worst films that you watch? Whatever you thought, comment below. Let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell. See you the next time I'm releasing next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time on the channel, and I will see you in 2025. But in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.